Here's a good question for you guys. Keeping this simple, sweet, nice and short because I think this is pretty obvious what the fuck you're looking at. Check out the price action today, right? You got a gap fill that was done down all the way to about that $16 range, and then it didn't quite get a bounce, and then it kept on knifing down to about $14.50, which is the next level of support here. And what sort of price action did you see happen? Do you think that this was a natural sell-off? Do you think that this was a natural buy-up? Do you think this was a natural sell-off? What about the price action to you today looks like some normal price action? Well, to me, really none of it does. And I want to tell you what I think is potentially happening here, right? It's nice that we saw a bounce off 1423. You look at this on the macro, you look at this on the daily. Volume is increasing a little bit here. You can see that the SPY, which is the broad market, is the S&P 500, top 500 companies in the U.S. stock market, also got a form of a bounce with a follow through on volume. So it could be one of two things, right? You could see a dead cat bounce here. Essentially, it's just relief from an extreme amount of pain, an extreme amount of sell-off that's taken place here so far. Or this could be a first inkling at a reversal. Either way, I don't think we have enough of a sign to be able to say that with certainty. I think it's going to take a couple more days of confirmation to be able to know. But nonetheless, you saw a very similar thing here with AMC. It could just be a relief bounce from a very long period of sell-off, or this could be the first sign of reversal. For me, I think that I'd prefer to see a little more volume. But what I want to spend the most time on is this 1 minute sort of chart, right? Look at this. Look at the whole way that this trades. I mean, if you took some lines and you drew them like this, I don't know about you, but where do you see this sort of systemic buying and selling? Just like Lincoln Logs. I mean, this is just connecting Lincoln Logs. When can you ever do this? When can you ever create a channel like that? Oh, well, maybe here. Maybe you can do it here. Maybe you can do it, I don't know, here. Huh. The names that I talked about this morning. It's kind of weird. It's kind of weird how that works. So it kind of makes you wonder, is retail really smart enough to purchase stock? Do they have the tools, the capabilities to purchase stock and sell stock in a way that makes a chart look like this? Or is it perhaps some institutions and market makers taking advantage of the bid and the ask? The bid is where you typically sell a stock. The ask is where you typically buy, with the caveat being that if you are in a super bullish reversal and you want to sell, sometimes you got to take the worse off offer. And sometimes when you're in a and that's not to say that you're actually selling the ask. You are more so just waiting for the bid to catch up to the ask. And sometimes in the opposite, in a very bearish reversal, you have to catch the ask as it's approaching the bid, right? As it continues to plummet or whatever. But nonetheless, there's typically a gap between these. And what I think you're watching happen right now is, very simply put, a bunch of institutions and market makers taking advantage of the options chain, derivatives, and this bid and ask spread to be able to move stocks like fucking algorithms. You look at the options chain right now, what do you kind of see happening with AMC? Well, you can look at the calls here really quick. You can see there's not a ton of open interest, right? At least not for this week. Come up to February or so, pretty light. It's not a lot of calls. You come look at the puts here. Looking at the puts, you have a little more open interest. So to me, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, $23, all these different strikes, what you're watching happen is hedging for the downside. And that comes from two different sort of things, right? A lot of options being purchased for a given security. And then what I think is a war between the bid and the ask for these institutions. But at the end of the day, my friends, it is a part of the grand scheme of things. I've talked about this in a couple previous videos. I think that AMC moves in tandem with a lot of the major indexes, and that is not to excuse the behavior. If you did not see my video from this morning, go watch it, please. I think this describes in great detail what I've been talking about and what I think a lot of people are seeing. And that is that small and mid-cap companies are sort of getting smoked by institutions, market makers, and the like. And retail has just kind of been told to take it. And that's what you guys are dealing with the ramifications of. I do think there's still good news. I've talked about this before. I do think that when all shorts cover out of all these different securities, you're going to see a lot of big movers, similar to back in January when you had a whole crap ton of movers, short squeezes, whatever. And then there's going to be some index leaders. And to me, you already know some of the names that are going to be behind that rally. So short video, get you on your way. Wanted to talk about this because this it's too convenient. It's too convenient to what we were talking about earlier today not to discuss. So that's what I've got for this video. Catch you guys on the next one. Much love, light taps, and peace.